Imagine this for a second. You haven't been born yet. Your soul is floating in boundless light between lifetimes, and it's you, your eternal self, sitting down at the cosmic table and choosing everything. The heartbreak that tears you apart, the losses that keep you crying at night, the illnesses that test every cell in your body, the betrayals, the poverty, the loneliness. It's not random, not some punishment from God, and definitely not a cruel joke from fate. It's your own deliberate choice. Your soul signs the contract for earthly suffering because it knows this is the fastest way back to its true self, back into oneness with the Creator. Edgar Cayce, the legendary American psychic known as the Sleeping Prophet, revealed this mind-blowing truth in more than 14,000 trance readings. He didn't invent theories. He saw it all. He slipped into trance and read the Akashic records, the eternal book of souls, where every choice, every reason, and every lesson is written forever. And what he shared changes everything. Your suffering isn't a curse. It's the wisest gift you ever gave yourself before you ever took your first breath. So why does the soul choose to incarnate right here, in this world of pain and extremes? Cayce explained it clearly. The soul is a spark of divine consciousness, eternal, immortal, and hungry, not just to exist, but to create. In the spiritual realms, everything is already unity, love, and light, but there's no real way to know yourself deeply. To become a true co-creator with God, the soul willingly descends into matter. It picks earth as its school, where through free will and the constant push-pull of good and evil, joy and pain, it learns total responsibility for every thought, word, and deed. Cayce said it like this: "The soul enters the material plane not by chance, but through the mercy of a loving Father, so that by its own choice it may correct those flaws and selfish desires that keep it from being one with the creative forces." Picture it. Before incarnation, the soul reviews every past life like a movie. It sees exactly where it misused free will, maybe in Atlantis, where unchecked power destroyed a civilization, or in ancient Egypt, where greed for control left heavy karmic debts. And then the soul says, "Yes, I will choose a body that gets sick, a family full of conflict, circumstances that force me to fight, because only through that will I learn compassion, forgiveness, patience, and real love." That's the hidden meaning of incarnation, according to Edgar Cayce. Suffering isn't punishment. It's the ultimate tool for soul evolution. The soul chooses it on purpose because it understands that pain creates contrast. Without darkness, you can't truly appreciate light. Without loss, you never learn to value what you have. Without illness, you never discover your own healing power. In one of his readings, Cayce described a soul that had lived selfishly in a past life, now deliberately choosing a body with physical limitations, not to be tortured, but to develop empathy through suffering and become a light for others. The purpose of every soul that enters earthly experience is to be a light to others, he said. Think about the mother who loses a child. Her soul chose that pain so it could learn unconditional love that goes far beyond the physical, or the person betrayed by someone they trusted. That's a karmic lesson in trust and forgiveness, planned by the soul itself to finally break the chain of repeated mistakes. But how exactly does this choice happen? Cayce described the process in stunning detail. After death, the soul moves into a realm beyond time and space as we know it. There it meets guides, soul mentors, who help it review the last lifetime. Together, they examine what's still unfinished: karmic debts, untapped talents, chances to serve. Then the soul looks at possible future lives. It sees potential parents, birthplace, even the exact moment when the planets will align to deliver the perfect lessons. And it chooses. Not the easiest path, because ease doesn't grow you. It picks the one that guarantees maximum growth. The soul might say, "Yes, I'll take this body with genetic issues, because in my last life I abused good health. I'll choose poverty so I finally learn generosity. I'll choose loneliness so I discover God inside myself." This isn't masochism. It's the highest wisdom. Cayce stressed that Earth isn't a prison. It's a laboratory of free will. Here the soul learns to turn negativity into positivity, chaos into harmony. A lot of people ask, why don't we remember this choice? That's the whole point. Forgetting is part of the contract. If we knew everything in advance, there would be no real choice, no genuine struggle. Cayce called this amnesia a mercy. It lets us live the lesson fresh, without preconceptions. But there is a way to remember. Through meditation, prayer, and working with the subconscious, just what Cayce always recommended. He himself saw in trance how souls plan their lives. In one reading he told of a soul that chose a violent family, not to suffer, but to break the cycle and become the one who brings peace. Another soul consciously picked illness because in a past life it had ignored the pain of others. Now it would learn compassion the hard way, from the inside. And here's what makes this knowledge absolutely viral and life-changing. The moment you realize your suffering was your own choice, you stop being the victim. You become the creator. Pain no longer breaks you, it shapes you. Cayce taught, what you sow, you reap. But you can reap not only past karma but future grace. Every tear, every sleepless night, every loss is an investment in your soul's evolution. The soul chooses earth because this is where it grows fastest. In this world of duality, you learn to love for real, not because it's easy, but in spite of everything. Through suffering, the soul is purified of ego, of material illusions, and returns to the source. Cayce saw that many souls come in groups, karmic families where everyone was once connected. That father you can't forgive. You once owed him a debt. The sick child who arrives, it's your shared agreement to heal together. Now stop and look at your own life. Why these exact trials? Why right now in this country with these exact people? Because your soul, before birth, looked at the map of its evolution and said, perfect. This is where I will bloom. Cayce warned that not every incarnation is easy, but every single one is necessary. Some souls choose short lives to teach others a lesson. Others choose long, difficult ones so they can become lighthouses. And at the end of each lifetime, back in the in-between realm, the soul reviews the results. How much love did I give? How much karma did I clear? How much light did I bring? When the lesson is learned, reincarnation becomes unnecessary. The soul rises to a higher plane. Cayce spoke of souls who no longer need to return because they have reached unity. But most of us are still here. And that's a good thing because right now, as you read or listen to these words, your soul is remembering. It whispers, yes, I chose this, and I am strong, and I will rise. Suffering is not the end. It's the beginning of awakening. Cayce taught us to use pain as fuel for prayer, for service, for change. Meditate the way he advised, at 11 o'clock at night, focusing on the Christ ideal or on God. Help others, because when you help them, you are actually helping yourself across lifetimes. Slowly, the fog of forgetting lifts. You start noticing synchronicities, signs, and the deep knowing that none of this is random. Friends, this isn't just theory. It's a reality Cayce proved through thousands of documented cases. People came to him in despair, heard a reading, and walked out ready to live again, because they finally understood their suffering wasn't a mistake, but a brilliant plan drawn up by their own soul. Imagine if every one of us knew this. The world would transform. Complaining would turn into gratitude. Depression would become action. Why me would change to what for? Your soul chose earthly suffering because it loves you beyond measure. It wants you to become exactly who you were meant to be, a co-creator, a light, love in action. And right now, in this exact moment, as you hear or read this, that contract is reactivating. You can shift the trajectory, not by running from the lesson, but by walking through it with dignity, with joy, with full awareness. Cayce left us the key. Know thyself. Look at your wounds not as enemies, but as teachers. Every one of them is a doorway to greater strength. The soul chooses suffering because it knows that on the other side is resurrection. Just like Jesus, whom Cayce saw as the ideal for all of us, he too chose the path of pain to show the way. And your soul is doing the exact same thing. That is the hidden meaning of incarnation. Not to suffer forever, but to find eternal joy through suffering. Not in the material world, but in the spiritual one. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the hero of your own epic story, written by your soul long before you were born. And here is the climax. If you're in darkness right now, know this. It's temporary. Your soul already planned the exit. It gave you every tool you need. Intuition, willpower, the capacity to love. Use them, forgive, serve, pray. And one day you will look back and say, "Thank you, my soul, for choosing exactly this. Because through this, I became who I am." That is victory. That is coming home. Edgar Cayce showed us, Earth is not a place of punishment. It is the place where the soul becomes divine, and your soul is already on the way. It chose you. It believes in you. Now it's your turn to believe in it. When you finish listening to this, pause, close your eyes and tell your soul, "I understand, I accept, and I'm ready to walk this path with love." Because in that moment, suffering turns into power. In that moment, you remember who you really are, and the world around you will begin to change. When one soul wakes up, it lights 1,000 others. It's a chain reaction of light, and it all started with your choice, before you were even born. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your soul choosing this exact moment to hear these words. Now go live differently, with awareness, with strength, with love, because you are eternal, you are light, and your suffering is only a temporary bridge to your own greatness.